But I mean, they put us on these courses initially, which was probably a good thing in the long run, but you just didn't know what you were doing.
No.
You know, they give you a list of courses, what do you want to go on? And you're just looking at them as if to say, well,
which pays the most?
Exactly.
What led you to social work? Was that something you felt that was right for you, or you began to enjoy it? Or
I think I was fortunate. When the company was on, I was also running youth work as well at the same time, which was a natural progression. You know, and just pure luck. You know, I just happened to get offered a job. You know, which on the bottom ladder, and then I sort of worked up from that.
It's like I said down before, the lads who did leave the TRD and went on the degree courses and things like that, if the steelworks are still going to be retiring now from the steelworks. They'll just stop there, I think.
Yeah,
it was the boot up the backside that set them on the way. Sounds daft.
a positive thing for some people.
For some, yeah. But if the steelworks had still been there, they'd have still been there. I don't think they'd.
I would have still been
Yeah,
there.
this is what I'm saying. I don't think. I think a lot of people would have turned around and thought, I'm going to do a degree course.
Do you individually or collectively see your particular journey as journey is a horrible word, but it's been an element of positive things about it, or
I think we were lucky because if you think of the three generation gaps, you know, there was the younger element, they were really in limbo, weren't they? Then there was ours, who had a lot of skills and with an opportunity, you know, and then there was the older ones who was going to employ them, you know, and the top and the bottom groups, I think, really got hammered. Whereas in the middle, we were young, we were fit, you know.
Well, you're young and you had the skills by then, didn't you? Obviously, the communication skills we've talked about, but also, you know, the specific skills to your industry as well that you could take elsewhere.
But the older people I always felt sorry for, like, because they were like just thrown on the pile, like, you know, just said, well, there's a little bit of money.
You talk about like the plate mill, the old lads, 50 odd 60 year old. They were the top paid men. They used to make a lot of money, but they were skilled, highly skilled. If you ever see somebody rolling a plate from a foot thick down to half an inch thick, you know, and spinning it and all sorts, it's amazing exercise. Skilled men. Then open a crisp factory at Concert. Who wants a 60-year-old roller who was on top money? Where's he going to go? Luckily, he probably made enough redundancy to see him through, because, you know, they'd been there years, they'd worked their ways up. So he probably had enough redundancy to see him to 65. But he couldn't have got employed on the wage he was at nowhere. You know, they had hands like shovels and the big lads.
Somebody was talking about, I think it's probably an urban myth, about the guy that got a job in the cake factory where he had to put the cherry on the top of the cake.
Probably too.
And he got so frustrated with it. He got, like a guy described it, he hammered the cake and walked out after a day, you know. That's probably there's an element of truth in that, I suppose. But
it's a different environment. As we said, you met everybody. But if you're on a production line putting crisps into boxes, I don't think it'd drive you mad, because you're being in an environment where you're meeting people all day long.
Yeah, but 10 years later, people were glad of them jobs, because that's all it was. You know, 10 years.
There was that. Like, I guess I'm getting down to that transition. It was almost a grieving period in a sense, I suppose. That you've got this loss of this big monolithic industry that had dominated your community on all the levels that we've discussed this afternoon. The pub, the club, the sports outlet, all those kind of, and into the church, the churches and the chapels, and every element of life. There's kind of almost like tendrils had gone into it, hadn't it?
That's right.
You know, and then shoof, September the 1st, 1980. It stops, and it's, what am I going to do? You know, you think about other people, but at that particular moment, I guess you also, well, what am I? You know, what are we going to do? You know, you've got children or whatever it may be, or got a mortgage or. When
the company went on strike, me personally, I thought when we went back, I thought the atmosphere had changed then, because we knew 9 months later it was going to close, and I think when you think about it, you could sense it. You know, you had a 3-month spell where you hadn't worked because of the strike. I think, right, this is what it's going to be like when it shuts. And I think there was a bit of an aura, like, overhanging everybody. So, like, naturally, we were jostling on with each other and all that the same, but at the back of your mind, it was a bit
So do you feel that?
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky because the day that it was announced, I mean, you always remember, like, when Kennedy was shot, you always remember where you were when it was announced. And I was in the bottom of an LD vessel testing a weld, up to my eyes in bullets, red dust. And I was told to come out and go to the library, which means a shower, go in, didn't know what it was, went up to the library, our friend side bottom announced, we're closing. I didn't go back in the vessel. Walking back along the corridor, my boss at the time shouted at me in the office. And this is within an hour of the announcement being made. He says, what about starting our own business? So when we went on strike, and the year that we were working out with notice and everything, we knew. Unfortunately, just before the company actually closed, this certain person got a job at British Gas. And he thought, that's better than running your own business. So me and my other friend, a work partner, were left high and dry.
When
but we continued on.
When the company shut down, did you get a lot of support from the company to set your business up?
Yeah.
See, so that was the bonus, you see.
We could hand pick it, because it was a very similar type of business. Not making steel, but testing steel. So there was equipment there, and there was a company set up called British Steel Industries, who give you all the support, and we got equipment, peppercorn rent, which we never ever paid, believe it or not, but a lot of it would have been scrapped. So we hand-picked the machines that we wanted and set our own business up from that. So, and there was some offspin of contacts we had within British Steel, helped us, but it was still, I mean, it was 3 to 5 years of hell. I mean, don't let anybody tell you, I mean, best thing I did when I was 53 years old, I mean, that was luck and hard work, but the first 3 to 5 years. I mean, if it hadn't been for, you have a young family, you've got a wife, you've got a mortgage around your neck, you've mortgaged the house to set your business up, and this is a non-business person, you know, and that was the problem. But they give you accountants, they give you solicitors for the first probably 2 years, got your bank money, but in them days, again, like maybe slightly different, but you could go and talk to your bank manager. Your bank manager was an old 60-year-old man, come in, sit down, get a cup of coffee, what do you want? And then you would have a bank manager come down and say, you haven't got a company car yet, do you want a loan? They would come and visit you. So everybody tried to help you. And we just happened to, I mean, the firm Freddie worked for, they got off the ground at the same time. But there was a lot of companies started off, and we used to go to seminars, and it was a bit like Dragon's Den. Everybody was coming up with these great ideas, and they used to put hurdles in front of you. You weren't giving money just for the sake of giving you money. They put a hurdle in front of you. You got over that hurdle, they knew you were keen to go to the next one. But some people fell at the first hurdle, as I said, and you ended up maybe out of 20, 30 people, there would be 10 people who would start their own businesses or make a success of it. But again, going back to the thing, when people came into concert, manufacturing businesses, they got grants. People who started non-manufacturing business in concert didn't get any grants unless 51% of your job was manufacturing. But people would walk in and get a lot of money, and that set, I mean, there was people moved on to #1 industrial estate, took grants for 3 years and disappeared overnight. Whereas we were local lads, we won't talk about the council, but you were given no help from the council. You might as well come from Timbuktu to set a takeaway.
But a lot of people also had contacts with other organisations, didn't they? Which helped them. I won't go into the organisations, but it helped them. You know, they had that contact, and it helped them to build up a bit of a work profile.
The biggest one was a company that come to pack orchids into boxes. Right? Took a big factory on #1, got a grant because they were manufacturing boxes of flowers. 2 years, went there one Monday morning, gone. But we struggled and struggled. We had a fight for every penny we got. But we were so determined to do it with the help of British Steel Industry. British Steel Industry was very good, and the banks were very good. I've still now used the same accountant as I used in 1980 when I started my business. That's how good they were. But No, but that's why we probably didn't notice what was going on in the concert, because all we were determined was to get a business up and running. You weren't bothered what anybody else was doing, to be truthful. You felt, I'm all right, Jack. Maybe that was the attitude you got, I'm all right, Jack, because you'd been pushed out by British Steel. They just threw you on the scrap heap, and you had to look after yourself. Whereas once over, you were a big team, one of a big team, and you looked after everybody. But when you're made redundant, it was...
Well, these people like yourself, Alan, had to have the confidence, right, and had to have the bottle to do it. The
but there was no alternative job, was there? That's what you were saying.
But the average person didn't have
I could have went to
bottle.
Teesside. I was offered a job at Teesside. But I was so sick of British Steel, I thought, I'm not going to work for you. And I refused it. Yeah. And also it was a bit of loyalty, because the lad I worked with and set up a business with, he didn't have a job. And I mean, we were destitute. I mean, literally destitute. If we went to a pub to have a chat, we had half a lager each. I mean, still a laugh now, we're still big friends with them. We both retired the same day. But I mean, things were hard, things were desperate. Never took wages, didn't do anything. And then people say, oh, it's the best thing that ever happened to you, British Steel closing. I said, it was 5 years on.
People forget that a bit sometimes.
So it was hard work. It was hard work for everybody.
It is, yeah.
What was the uncertainty? I didn't, then you set people on and you pay them people before you pay yourself. You know? The other thing, when you're on about the grieving period, what happened was that I employed people, because more than me, who were wasters when they worked at British Steel. Slackers. But they were there. They had a different attitude when they come to work for a private company, because they'd been on the door for 6 months. And so you got people who were keen to work for you. I mean, they would have shoveled anything for you. I mean, I used to sit there wanting a machinist, and you would get 20 applicants, and you had to pick one. And that was a hard thing to tell you, the 19, and they were all young lads with mainly young families, hadn't a job, desperate to do work for nothing. They would promise you the earth, but you only wanted one, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I mean, sort of as all four of you in a way of not benefited, but it's been I suppose you have benefited. And but is there what do you think the feeling was like during that time? I haven't really touched upon that. You know, that some people obviously went and spent and bought themselves new cars and whatever. Was it as my kind of feeling was it was like almost some people euphoric almost, you know, because they had some money in their pocket and they had to go out and spend it.
I don't think it was that at all.
No?
I think when the company closed down, people were literally in limbo and they hadn't a clue what was going to happen next. When you got that bit of money, that was your supporting mechanism that kept you going. And some people mind it didn't last long. You know, you met some people and say it got wasted, but I don't think it got wasted. I think it was just that support for them at the time. And a lot of people, like myself, were lucky. We were lucky. Some people weren't so lucky, and they suffered a lot. You know, but it was just a matter of luck it as well, wasn't it? Was there a job there at the time, or wasn't there a job there at the time? You know, pure luck in a lot of cases. You know.
I think there was a lot of bitterness.
Sorry,
a lot of bitterness. With people being pushed. I mean, we were just discarded.
Towards the government and the company, yes, definitely.
Against
definitely.
Like the politicians and everything. You know, I mean, I know it was Maggie Thatcher that done it, but it wasn't. It was a furnace at Teesside that did it. But everybody thought she's closed everything down. And even people now, bitterness now towards the Conservatives, you know, but it didn't bother me. I would have succeeded whether there'd been not communists, but it'd be anybody in power, because I was determined to succeed. But there was a lot of bitterness against the government.
The most demeaning thing that I was, which taught a lot of people, was when I had to go on the dole and I had to go and look for work, and that was really demeaning, and you know, that knocked their ends. And like,
a lot of proud men, wasn't there? A lot of proud men who'd never been out to work in their lives.
Without a doubt.
They had to go and sign on.
You know, you come from here down to here, you know.
You would probably stand in a queue with somebody who'd be your office boy almost, you know. And that must have been hard.